So again, tonight we're going to do USA Jobs. We're working on USA Jobs 301 keywords. My name is Bruce Benedict, and I'm the president of Battlefield Resumes. And if you just to get you a little familiar with this platform, if you're not used to it, is we're going to show you slides. I'm going to show you USA Jobs, and then we're going to go into basically a Word document. Now, if you look at your files, I actually loaded 2 PDF files that you can download. And those are the PDF files that we will use tonight. Just let me know when you've downloaded those and you can see those. Now, I'm going to show those on the webinar tonight. However, it's just a little easier if you pull them up on your computer and look at them yourself. And then if you have a document with your job on it already, or you see a job on USA Jobs right now that you know you're qualified for and you're going to apply to, then you can go through this same process as I'm talking. And then whatever questions you have, please ask me. Just type them in the chat block. And then that way I can answer them right now in real time. The job that we're going to look at is a defense logistics job, and but it's a 0080 job. So a lot of people in the military or with a military background may be qualified for this job. It's just an example. I like using real-time jobs that are being announced right now, and this is one of those jobs that is out on USA Jobs, and so why not use it, right? And so if you have any questions throughout this webinar, please just type them in the chat block, and I will answer them immediately. I'd rather you do that than wait to the end. All right, so let's move on. Again, this is where all the information comes from. My job search book on the left, the federal resume writing book on the right-hand side. All of the information I talk about is in those 2 documents. Also in the middle, the on-demand recordings, that's where this will be uploaded. This will initially be uploaded into YouTube, but only for a few weeks, and then it will be deleted or cut down and then uploaded into the on-demand recording. But all the other webinars that deal with federal resume writing, federal job searching, things like that, are all under the federal government employment on-demand recording that you see here. And I'll send everybody the 2 PDFs. I mean, basically both are the same. We're going to look through both of them on how to copy and paste, and then how I actually what I call isolate. I separate, I isolate, and I exploit the keywords in the job announcement. And that's what we're going to do tonight. So when you look at the book, if you have my book, you're going to see a chapter in there, a phase, basically, that talks about separating and isolating and exploiting. And that's what we're going to do tonight. So again, we're going to run through 5 phases in this webinar series. We've already done 101, 201. We're going to look at 301 tonight, and then next week what we're going to do is focus on how to actually build the resume. And as you can tell, there's a lot of effort prior to the resume, so it's not really as easy as a lot of people make it out to be, as far as, hey, you just need to tailor your resume. Well, what does that really mean, right? And so tonight I'm going to help you learn how to tailor that. And it's really just based on my trial and errors from both sides of the hiring process. So as we move on, I think so the agenda really is key terrain within the job announcement. I look at everything as a battlefield. Every job announcement is a separate battlefield. Now, just like a normal battlefield, no battlefields are the same. So no job announcements are the same. So what you really are trying to do is identify what the key areas are within the job announcement. The job announcement key areas I call key terrain. Just easier for me to think of it that way. And so you really have multiple sections within the job announcement. USA Jobs changed the facade of their website, so it may look better, it may look different, but the actual hiring process, the job announcement process, all of that is still the same. It didn't change. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go inside of each area here and identify the keywords. And you have to know how to do that in order to even start your tailored resume. So right now you really should have a long resume. After tonight, you could work on your tailored resume for this particular job. Now, again, within key terrain, now remember, let's say you are on a battlefield and you have a left and right limit. The next company, the next brigade, the next battalion is on a battlefield to your right. Another organization is on a battlefield to your left. So you really have left and right phase. You have left and right limits. Let's just say that. Well, within your battlefield, there's key terrain. So let's say there's a mountain that's key terrain. Well, once you get to that mountain, there's a lot of different areas in that area, that AOR, that are key areas as well. And that's what we're going to kind of look at. I'll show you what I mean when we go through this, but remember, you have, in this job announcement, we have 6 different areas to look at. Each one I consider key terrain, but within each one of these 6, there's multiple areas that you need to look at as well. So let's move into the job announcement. You can find this. It's literally, if we looked on USA Jobs, it is a job being announced right now. It's only been announced for 2 days, and it closes on the 17th of January. Now, what I do, it appears to be a lengthy process, but trust me, after you do it the first 2 or 3 times, it definitely helps. And what that is you copy and paste this entire job announcement into a Word document. And why do you do that? Right? Because the job announcement is so lengthy anyway. Why would I copy it into there? Well, although you can find an archive for these jobs, it's very difficult. And long term, when you actually look at the hiring process, the recommendation that I have when we get into the interviewing webinars is that you go into the interview with the job announcement that you applied to. And believe it or not, a lot of people will get interviewed for jobs and they don't remember applying to the job that they got called for. Why? Because they have applied to hundreds of jobs. So which one was it? So you have to keep track. So at this point, you're keeping track. Also, the job, not only the job announcement, but the resume, the tailored resume that you used for this particular job, you need to probably save both of those to the same file. When you apply to this, 6 months from that date, 3 to 6 months, you will probably, let's say you get referred, you get a call saying, hey, we would like to interview you. Your first question is, well, which job is it? They're going to give you a control number or the job announcement number. You really need to have this in your computer and then take it to the interview so you know what you said to them. Because the people on the other side of the table, the hiring panel, they're going to have the job announcement and they're going to have your resume that you used. And so if they have it, then you need it. All right, so the best way to do that is to save this. The reason I put it into a Word document is so I can manipulate it. Now remember, this is the phase for separating, isolating, exploiting. So what we do is we take this document, and if you're on a Windows computer, what you would do is you would take this document, copy and paste each section into the notepad. And the notepad erases all of the program data behind your copy and paste, right? You're behind it. So basically you would take this, put it in notepad, and then copy and paste it from notepad into a Word document. And you do that for the entire announcement. Now, I do this, and I do this for every client I work with, because I personally have been burned by it, and I know as a previous hiring manager, people who have applied to jobs, but they missed one sentence within this lengthy job announcement that said, if you don't include something, you will be automatically disqualified. That's why you have to separate all this stuff. Paragraphs are not paragraphs. They're just lumped. They're just sentences that are lumped together. So for instance, all these paragraphs, you can't assume that the most important item is at the very top or at the very bottom. There's a lot of critical criteria in the center of these paragraphs that you really need to separate and identify. But the first step is copy and pasting everything. And what I mean is you copy and paste the top header data. You copy and paste all the job information, the job overview. You go to how to apply. You copy all of that information. You go to required documents and you copy that information. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to one of the PDF documents, which is this one. So this is the document that I use when I initially start to tailor a resume. If somebody, and the only reason I do it this way again is because I've been burned myself and I've seen friends of mine being burned. So, and I say that just because we didn't pay attention to the job announcement and what it was saying. I mean, for one reason, look, the job announcement is like, once you copy it onto a Word document, it's probably 10 pages long. That's a lengthy job announcement. But multiple things are repeated. And you can't get frustrated with the job announcement. You can't get frustrated with the system. And don't assume that, don't assume in a negative way that the government is trying to hide key information from you. And that's kind of what it implies because it's so lengthy. They're not. They're trying to articulate to you how to apply in excruciating detail. It's almost overload, right? Information overload. So what I would recommend is copy and paste it just like we did. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go through this entire document. Now, I just want to make sure, can you type in that you can see this document before we start? I want to make sure that everyone sees this. And sometimes I start moving really, really fast in these webinars. So if I'm moving too fast, if you miss something, stop me and just ask me or tell me to slow down. There we go. Hopefully that's a little better. All right, so in this job announcement, now at this point, I've copied and pasted. This is what I do for myself, for everybody. I no longer look at the one online. Now, we will go back and forth to the job announcement we were just looking at on USA Jobs just to confirm with everyone how how much easier it is to analyze a job announcement once you copy and paste it into a document. So in this particular job, things that I look for, I'd look for what, obviously, you already know, which is the job title. Okay. But more importantly, the organization that's announcing it. All right. So for instance, this is a DLA job. Now, if you're applying to an Army job, if you're applying to an Air Force job, anything like that, then you have to tailor your resume to that organization. To me, this job announcement takes on a life of its own. It's got its own personality, and you really just have to tailor your resume to it. It's not as easy as saying, hey, tailor your resume to the job announcement. Okay, fine. The first question I